Are you ready, boys and girls? Hello, it's Justin McDonald here. Today we have a pretty long quote. I would say it's a couple sentences long. Regardless, it's definitely worth uh, explaining, talking about. Is this thing on? Yeah, it is. It just seems to be in a different position this time. I think the words that I'm saying are probably going to be more important than the camera angle, I hope. And before we get into this quote, uh, we're going to highlight the importance of future bank, positioning, customers for life, or customer retention. So Peter Thiel, in his book 0 to 1, he says something about advertising matters because it works. It works on nerds, and it works on you. You may think you're an exception, that your preferences are authentic and advertising only works on other people. It's easy to resist the most obvious sales pitches, so we entertain a false confidence in our own independence of mind. But advertising doesn't exist to make you buy a product right away. It exists to embed subtle impressions that will drive sales later. So you might be used to advertising that has a lot of calls to action that's like act now, call now, buy this now. And it kind of gives this illusion that advertising is like this last ditch, desperate, um, desperate move or need to get a prospect or a customer to buy something right away. And I don't think that's necessarily true. Sometimes it may seem that way, especially for certain brands and companies that like recognition and dump, you know, thousands, millions of dollars into advertising that doesn't really work, and it kind of leaves people with this kind of impression that advertising doesn't work on them. But it's not true, because it works on even people that are in advertising, in marketing, nerds, I guess you can say, tech geeks and all that. One thing you'll see a lot of people in this industry wear is t-shirt and jeans, maybe. Not just formal wear, but t-shirt and jeans, but t-shirt in particular. Now, you see a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, that are successful people, that are working in office settings, wear t-shirts. And what it says on the t-shirt is kind of like an it is an advertisement, actually. And it's almost like a modern day billboard. There might have been a time where you would drive by a billboard and it was like almost something you look forward to seeing. This piece of art on the side of the road. Now billboards are kind of an eyesore, I would say. The same thing with t-shirts, right? T-shirts, have you ever done this? Have you ever like kind of gave somebody like a weird look almost, and like studying them because you're just trying to see what it says on their t-shirt, and they're like looking at you funny, like you almost like go out of your way, like go the next aisle over, like wait, what does it say on their shirt, or like in the back of the shirt or something, and I think that's pretty clever. I don't know if it's ever done intentionally, but I think if somebody were to wear a T-shirt with your brand name or logo or likeness on it, it's more than likely that they actually support you. I mean, what I mean by that is like they actually, they're more than just buying your product. I think that somebody to rock a T-shirt for any company, any logo, any brand is kind of a bold move. And there are situations where some people they don't really have a lot of choice of dress, and that's not really the case I'm talking about. But people who willingly and choose to buy or purchase or acquire somebody else's T-shirt, I mean, by another company's T-shirt, it's it's a really interesting phenomenon actually. And I mean, if you have a business, whether it's landscaping, you're a musician, whatever company you might be representing, and you have a T-shirt and people are wearing it, that's pretty cool. I mean, that to me says that you're doing something right. It's almost tribal. It's almost tribal to have a T-shirt or apparel with brand logo name on it, and then see people people in public, strangers even, wearing this stuff proudly, or just wearing it like it's part of their wardrobe. It's pretty impactful stuff. I wouldn't ignore that. I would definitely try to understand and think about and explore the reasons why. Reasons why. Why is somebody wearing your T-shirt? Is it just because the logo looks cool, cool colors? Is the T-shirt comfortable? Do they just need a T-shirt? Or is it something else? Or do you represent a certain style or a brand or a certain way of doing things that they're like, yeah, that's me. This is going to be part of my identity now. I'm going to wear this T-shirt. Making sure we're still going live here. You know how I go. Yeah, we sure are. But look at this big long quote, right? That quote was so long I had to write it in 2 sittings. um, but yeah, advertising matters because it works, and of course, like I said, it works on, or like Peter said too, it works on nerds. It works on you. You're not an exception. You know, you might think your preferences are authentic, and it only works on other people. And again, it's easy to resist the most obvious sales pitches. So we all get that false confidence, like we're independent in our thoughts and our mind. Like nobody's going to influence or manipulate me to buy anything. Not me. I'm too tough. My skin is too tough. I mean, I even say that. You probably have said that to yourself so many times, like especially if you're in advertising or marketing, or even if you just got started in it. Like you're just like, wow, like all day every day you're seeing hundreds, sometimes thousands of messages that are all just like bad sales pitch, bad sales pitch, bad sales pitch after bad sales pitch. And you're like, how is any of this advertising going to even work on me? Well, if the advertising works on the influence, then that's what is going to be the influence, isn't it? I mean, some people, most people, they buy things because of word of mouth, actually, not actually because of the advertising. You can, I mean, it is part of the advertising. You can kind of trace back to where the advertising might work or where it did work, and then you can see the snowball effect of the advertising working on the influence, and then the influencer using communication, like just plain word of mouth, just plain like demonstration, almost like a testimonial without like actually intentionally giving a testimonial, right? Just like you're using a product, you know what I mean? Somebody's got the latest, greatest gadget, lawnmower, for instance, and they're just out there and they're just mowing their lawn, and their lawn looks beautiful. Um, Depending on their positioning to their other neighbors as far as status, right? Neighbors are gonna pick up on, ooh, they're whizzing around the yard on that lawnmower and it looks really nice. And then they see the Toro or the John Deere or whatever it is colors or logo on the side, and they're like, I want that. And those companies you might not ever see an advertisement anywhere. Maybe like in a magazine somewhere, probably never on a commercial. And yet they do advertise on some level and it does work. And I know I've mentioned this in another Facebook Live. And a good form of advertising that you see kind of ties into that. When you see people who do construction on homes and provide other services, they will often have decals or magnets on their vans or trucks and their equipment. And I think a good form of advertising is kind of like that. It's like they might be demonstrating, or they will be demonstrating, their landscaping, their snowplowing, their window washing, roofing, plumbing, security system, whatever it might be. And again, you might see these vehicles out on the road and it's just like an eyesore. You just don't even blink an eye at it. When you see these companies in action at the residence with the people that work for the company, they might be demonstrating actually working on the lawn, on the roof, and it looks like the workers are all competent. They're doing what they're supposed to. It looks nice. Whatever it is, it looks nice. What a great form of advertising. Now, did the team leader or the owner or the manager of that project intentionally say, hey, here are advertising dollars. Let's use them right now to perform this demonstration at somebody's house? Not really. Unless some construction company or something is making like a music video or something, I don't know, or a commercial, right? A commercial maybe. I highly doubt that companies are spending their advertising dollars on just showing up to the job. Unless decals, right? Decals, company logos, wording on the uniforms, on the vehicles, such and such. That would be probably where you would see the advertising dollars go, huh? A lot more effective than putting an ad in the paper, probably even more effective than a Facebook post. No offense, Facebook. Or ad or whatever. Do you see like even first responders, they have uniforms, they have identification on them, what department they're from, their last name, obviously if it's a police officer it'll be right here, somewhere above the breast pocket, right? And then for firefighters, they will have usually their last name, or maybe it's a nickname, I don't know, I think it's usually last name, could be first name sometimes. on the back of their firefighter jackets. And um, so like different businesses will have uniforms too, and may or may not have name tags, irrelevant. But from a naked eye, from passing by, you see the demonstration of competence, of work, of people that are eager and willing to buy something from a company that looks like they're doing it right. And that's important in advertising for me, and everybody being a salesperson and everybody participating in this advertising. It's not just like a commercial that you see on TV or hear on the radio or see on a banner on a website or anything like that. Um, you could almost think of it more in the realm of infomercial, but it's like it's not really like entertaining information, but it kind of is. Um, if you're in the market to like fix your roof or put a fence up at your house or buy a camper or something like that, when you see like and your environment could be just passing by in your car and you see XYZ fence company, XYZ roofing company, XYZ pool company, security system, so on and so forth. You don't necessarily go right home, immediately look up their website and give them a call, right? No, what it does, what Peter Thiel was talking about too, is you're getting like this subtle impression in your head, like who are you gonna call? Not Ghostbusters, but it could be a cremation service, funeral, banquet hall, um, restaurant, catering service, lawyer. And the reason why I bring that up again, your favorite Chinese restaurant, Indian food, Mexican restaurant. These impressions get in your head. And later on, when it's time to make a purchasing decision, this is where the positioning comes in. They're number one. They're like kind of showing up along. Maybe not, but there's a lot of other businesses that do what they did or do what they do. So what they do is actually they're not a first mover, but what they do is they kind of stand out in the crowd of everybody else because they're willing to do it differently and provide this sales message in such a fashion that everybody that's in that marketplace, which is people that are just ready to buy something, they pick up on that. They receive the message and they're like, "Oh, like when I'm ready to go buy, just you go. I've been hearing good things about them or whatever." So I brought up all those instances like lawyer and restaurants and things like that too. Maybe you just came into town staying for a few days. Maybe you just moved into the city. Maybe you just moved into the village. And you're like, oh, great, there's a place to get coffee. Oh, great, there's a place to get Chinese food. Oh, great, there's a place to get pizza. Oh, cool, we can get groceries over there. Do you see how like the subtle images and impressions they get inside our brains? And it's not like it's just like it's not really manipulating in a bad way or anything like that. It's just like later on when you're ready to buy, you want to buy something from a reputable business, correct? From somebody that's doing it honestly, where somebody somewhere at some point was like, a real person, an authentic person was saying, I had an experience at this place, it was positive. If you want or need this kind of stuff or this thing or this product or this service, I highly recommend going there first or last. You'll get the best deal. So just keep that in mind too when you're advertising, when you see advertising too, good advertising. The good advertising will find a way to just kind of like almost find a sneaky way for you to remember them later. I love that kind of advertising too, by the way. I love it. I don't think it's necessarily that sneaky. I don't think it's negative either. It's actually a very positive thing. I think it's a very positive thing. If you can see sales and sales people and a sales force being a positive force, if you can just envision it for a second, it's like sales and marketing a lot of times is where is most of the time is where you're getting education for what it is you're going to buy. It doesn't mean you're getting like necessarily a decent education and as far as school goes, that's not what we're talking about, but like, you know, we were talking about it yesterday. If you were, or was it a couple days ago, we're talking about like if you were going to buy, I mean, I guess not anymore, but like let's say if you're buying a DVD player, some people still buy those. You're probably not going to watch a documentary on how DVD players are made to go buy a DVD player. A salesperson at a store will do that with the features and benefits and why you should get this now and whatnot. But they but that's how we learn about products and services and sales and that's how like that advertising is working through like that word of mouth, and that's how we learn about products and services is through word of mouth. When you get your next latest and greatest phone, you're probably not just watching some documentary on how phones are made, are you? No. Somebody of influence in your life or several influences in your life have probably subtly in some way marketed the next phone you're going to get to you just by demonstration and them just having a positive experience about it. So just to wrap this up, we're talking about customer retention, customers for life, future bank. Really the advertising model is securing those three things there, that customer for life mentality, the retention, and you know, positioning a future bank. That all is like just like kind of one umbrella blanket, right? The future bank, you know, the retention, and all that positioning too, especially the positioning, because um, the number one whatever product or service is probably number one in a category, but it's not like people are thinking about categories and products all day, right? It's like there's messes I need to clean. Let me buy this spray to clean it up. They're not thinking about cleaning spray all day. In fact, they might just be buying something so they can prevent and discontinue having to think about it all day. Like, cool. I can spray that, wipe it down, move on with my day. I don't have to keep thinking about cleaning, and I don't have to keep thinking about cleaning sprays or buying them in different companies. I got one in my head. Ooh, it's Simple Green. It's 409. It's some Clorox thing. Great. Go to the store where I'm buying other things. Get the spray. Spray the mess. Clean it up. No one's staying up late, right? Thinking about your cleaning spray all day. Hopefully not. I mean, if they are, good for you and them, but you're not. That's not a likely scenario for any product or service. So positioning is key. Future bank is key. Again, it goes back to that: who you're gonna call, not Ghostbusters, but what is it that you provide? You know, the positioning part and that future bank and that retention. It's like you just want to be number one when they're ready. They might buy once a year, twice a year, three times a year, or maybe they might buy once every few years. If you can keep that conversation going and being relevant to them and giving them value and just retaining the relationship, not like not just like buy this all the time, but you're like actually maintaining and retaining a relationship with people that are your customers. You know, you're just setting yourself up in a much better way for again your future bank to get another sale, and to get that customer for life. And the only way you're gonna do that is by actually like getting in getting into their life and their mind a little bit, not just like how like forming like an almost an actual relationship, like you're a buddy that just happens to have this thing. um and you know they might only communicate to you back when they want something, but that's okay as long as they're still willing to listen to your company's message. That's important to think about. And if your company's message isn't just sales pitch all the time, you're going to probably do a lot better. Now, your messaging could just be blatant sales pitch only. And if you're talking to the right crowd at the right time in the right fashion, that might work 100%, right? Or almost. But like a lot of people want to be talked to like people. And sometimes like the less sales pitchy you are and the more just human you are and showing that you actually like care about somebody else, the more likely they're going to stick to you and want to talk to you and want to hang out with you and want to do business with you. I'm not saying it's going to work 100%, but your chances of survival are going to be much greater when you are looking at it as a relationship versus just a dollar. So that's all I really have to say today for advertising. Advertising works on everybody. Advertising isn't necessarily what we think an ad is. And advertising, as you can see from all the examples I gave you, it's everywhere. It's in everything. And some of the best forms of advertising don't actually cost a lot of money necessarily. The best advertising sometimes just comes from doing competent good work and being authentic, showing up for the job, and just doing good work um and having a positive experience with your clients. Because you know if they have a positive experience, one day they're going to be sitting around some kind of a water cooler on some kind of maybe social media, some kind of friend circle. And I know women do this especially too, and guys. You know, they're all hanging out. It might be a more relaxed atmosphere. Maybe they're at a party or something, and they're like, "Hey, have you heard of? Have you tried this? I had this experience with." And that's really something that I would want to tap into versus just throwing a brand or logo on a T-shirt or your vehicle, which can help a little bit, but giving your customers a positive experience, one that they just can't help but to share, is something that I really value, and I hope you do too and can tap into, because the whole world can benefit. Actually, just a much better way to do business and advertising by having that kind of transparency and authenticity, and the ability to just spread the good word through word of mouth. Thank you very much for listening or watching or both, and have a lovely day.